Welcome to the mind of LANCESCURV, the most creatively profound man in cyberspace.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of LANCESCURV. We're going to jump right into it. You know, a lot of things have been revealed to me in my life since I've been up into the country. I'm telling you, country living will just have you you have no choice but to get in touch with things and see things that you're not used to really observing and absorbing. Let me just hit this wire over here proper. Get down and talk. Yeah. You know, when you remove certain distractions and they're not there anymore, it's so easy to see certain things. And it's not a forced meditation. It just happens because there's certain things that are not there. And it's just wonderful. Welcome on in on Instagram, Ineffable Join. Faye Ellis. Yes, my dear sister Faye. Let me see what's going on over here on the YouTube side. Sweet D, welcome on in. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitch, we're on X, we're on Rumble, and of course, Instagram. So I'm not going to see every single comment as I jump right into this, but Peaceful Pulley, Amir Stuckey, yes, it's been a while. We're all going to have a conference call soon, so I can update you on a lot of things going on. I just want to say that I dropped a link. I didn't do it in Instagram, I think. I'm going to do it right here, that you can get every single LANCESCURV episode known to man right here on SoundCloud. Let me just drop it over here on Instagram. I have it on top on YouTube and all the other platforms. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, let's see. Hope I didn't do anything bad here. Okay, what happened? What happened? What happened here on Instagram? Okay, on Instagram, if you can still hear me, let me know if I'm coming through. I clicked to drop a link here and it just froze the screen up. Let me just move on over to the other side. Everything's still good over here on the other side. Melisha, how are you? Blessed Sundays. Yes, it is. It's blessed. I'm in a zone when I woke up. Seriously. Again, on the okay, how can I undo this? Something's wrong here. I don't want to do the wrong thing. Let me see if I can get this back. Looks like I can't. I don't know. On Instagram, if you can still hear me and we're not cut off, let me know. Faye, if you can hear me, let me know. But it seems like everything froze up, so I'm not going to touch anything because I just dropped a link. So what the heck? All right. So we're going to move on from that. Like I said, life is funny in a good way, right? It's like the older you get, I don't want to say old, but the more you get deeper into this journey, is the more you can sometimes stumble upon finding yourself or actually putting yourself through the rigors of trying to find yourself. Jokes that you used to laugh at may not be as funny. Situations that may have been appealing may not have the sweetness to it. You're not getting corny, you know, but the thing is, it's I don't know. You're more content to be to yourself if you have cleansed yourself a little more. I wrote some points down. I'm always doing that. I got up and I took a nice little long walk, got out in the sunlight, and it's weird. Let me tell you something. I went to bed last night. Guess what time? I mean, knocked down, drag out. I didn't have a hard day, but this nature is permeating my psyche, right? I went to bed at 7:30. 7:30 in the evening. Me, a former night bird, went to bed 7:30 in the evening. I woke up around 12:30, caught a phone call, talked for 20 minutes, and went back to sleep and didn't get up again till 6:15 to cut my floodlights off. And I went back to bed again and woke up a little before 8. And I was like, what's that all about? Because I wasn't tired for any reason whatsoever. But for me now, I let everything I just go with the flow. If my body says this, I listen to it. I'm not going to try to negotiate. It's just like, hey, we have to go to the bathroom. We got to eat. We do what we do. we listen to our body. So when it comes time for that, that's what I do. I just want to stick that in there. And I think that's very important too, because with the world the way it is, the engineered man-made system, it tells you what to do. It pushes itself on you, and you lose yourself, and you follow the dictates of this system, and you do it what you think it wants you to do, and you lose yourself, and you end up wrecked up. I slept so deep. Except the times I had to get him go to the restroom, answer the phone call. And I said, you know what? When I woke up, I laid there for an extra 30 minutes on top of, and then I got up and I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to the voice on the inside to tell me what to do today. I had some things I wanted to do. I wanted to set this show up from last night, but something said, no. I wanted to set this show up from when I woke up. And I said, you know what? Let me just get out in the sun. And everything flowed. Didn't even know exactly where I was going to go. Now, I had 3 destinations I could have gone to, but I said, let my inner guide me. And it worked out fine. The other 2 places, I don't have to go, but I'll go this week. And so that's the way I'm living right now. But just want to read off some things, a couple of points. I'm not going to stay on each point so super long, and there will be points that will be left behind. Everything is on LANCESCURV.com on this particular show topic. That's what I do. In a world where external influences constantly shape our perceptions and expectations, finding oneself is not just a luxury. It's a necessity for a fulfilling life journey. We're going to speak on why discovering and maintaining a connection with your true self is crucial, along with practical steps to achieve and sustain inner harmony. Why finding yourself matters. Authenticity breeds fulfillment. Embracing who you truly are allows you to live authentically, leading to a sense of fulfillment that external validation can never provide. You hear that? Embracing who you are allows you to live authentically, leading to a sense of fulfillment that external validation can never provide. If you're waiting for people to validate you, praise you, tell you you're doing a good job, you're going to have haters that are not going to do it, even though they know you're doing a fabulous job. You're going to have other people who may want to be you or compete with you, and you will have those who give you some of it, but it's not going to be as fulfilling as being who you are. I made up my mind a long time ago. I didn't even have to make up my mind. My parents raised me to be authentically myself and embracing who I am. There are times when the outside influences tried to pull me, that little gravitational pull, but I'm like, I don't need the external validation. I don't need, because I know how fulfilling it is to be myself and speak your mind. You think Muhammad Ali needed external validation, right? You think Michael Jackson needed external validation to come up the way he was as an entertainer and later on one who spoke truth? Malcolm X, oh, do you think the people are upset with the way I'm speaking? He never asked anybody that. He did what he had to do and he stayed true to himself. If there's a pebble in your shoe, don't be quiet while your toe is hurting and your foot is hurting. Hey, I need to stop walking. I got to get this pebble out of my shoe. You got to take care of yourself. And the best way to do that is be yourself and speak your mind, and don't tolerate foolishness. Clarity in decision making. When you know yourself, you make choices aligned with your values and aspirations, resulting in greater clarity and confidence in decision making. You make choices aligned with your values and aspirations. You know what you're all about, so you make choices accordingly. When I would hang out with friends when I was much younger and I was into bodybuilding competition and had to eat a certain way, I didn't stay away from hanging out with them. They may have gone to the fast food joint. When I wasn't in training for competition, maybe I would have got a White Castle burger or some fries or a soda. I'm not going to lie. But 99.9% of the time, I ate the way I had to eat because of my aspirations and getting my body looking a certain way. So what did I do? I had this red little Adidas bag that I would carry all of my tuna fish, my pineapples, my egg whites, my vitamins, my brown rice. my water, my distilled water, and have a good time hanging out with them, next to them while they ate the food that they ate. So we got to fight most of the time to be authentically ourselves that way. And the clarity and what we must do when it's time to go to bed, when it's time not to go and stay on the phone for 3 hours in an aimless conversation. That's mental masturbation. Whatever you need to do to get to where you have to go, you have to do it. And also too, just like that anthill that's knocked down underfoot, or the big ones that get knocked down. You know, I was so hurt because on this property, I had a big anthill, and the guy, when he came to clear out for the foundation of the house, he just went over there and knocked it over. I would have loved to have my own private anthill. Anthill Chronicles Part 2, right? But you never know. I think there's one going up in the back anyway again. But it's actually a termite hill, right? Resilience against external pressures. By understanding your true essence, you build resilience against societal norms and pressures, empowering you to stay true to yourself despite external influences. External pressure, peer pressure, especially when you're an adolescent, oh man, that could be so great. But you know what? We're in the social media era, and the peer pressure is not relegated to just teenagers. We got grown folks being escorted into middle age and old age, still influenced by social media, and all those who are influenced by social media. Girl, why are you wearing that short or that long dress? You don't know, you like looking like somebody's granny. And then you go out there and take a few inches off of it, or maybe a foot. And it's not about acting your age. It's just you're doing something you don't want to do because of peer pressure. If you want to keep that man, you better go on and give him some, because he's going to go. Look, if you got to do that faster than you're ready, then that's not the man for you. That's not the man for you. You see what I'm saying? Fellas, you got some women who might be into you, but you have not all women, not all of our sisters. Some of them might be gold diggers. And here you go spending. Look, it's about you. Of course it's nice to spend, and you will, within reason. But if you have somebody in your life that's interested in you, they don't always have a reason to get in the pocket and make you spend. I'm just throwing some random things out there. In the meantime, you have a good woman with you. Don't be cheap. I got to balance it out, right? I got to say those things. Let me just check around and see if this Gifty. Welcome on in. Sweetberry. Starseed Oracle. Yes. Everybody else I acknowledge. Let me see. Okay, good. I'm glad. I thought that my Instagram stream was messed up, so I see it moving up a little bit. And yeah, Faye, on Instagram, I'm all I got. I ask myself. But you know what? That's a good place to start, because you'll never be let down. And really and truly, you're not all you got, but I know exactly what you're saying. You know, there are people who care for you that you may not know care for you more than you could ever imagine. But in this world, the way it is, you got to think that way. But there's energies on a spiritual level that are going to look out for you. Trust me. So there's much more than the naked eye can see. But as far as human beings amongst us, the circle that we think we have, yeah, we have people in our corner. And let me tell you something. What I've experienced, you'll have people come to your aid out of nowhere, over and above, proving how they feel about you. Trust and believe that. You made it this far, trust me. You got a long way to go, and you're going to see that you're loved. But I understand what you mean. I'm in battle mode too sometime. You know what I mean? Enhanced relationships. Authenticity fosters genuine connections with others as you attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Wow. Attract people who appreciate you for who you are. That's a good feeling. To be loved, to be liked, to be appreciated for who you are. The pressure is off to be somebody that you're not. And just look at the world the way it is. I hate to keep blaming social media, but it made things worse. But even before social media came around, we had this kind of pressure on us. Like, we see somebody who we might like, or We see people that we want to spend time with, and we try to change ourselves to be more appealing to them. And at the end of the day, that's wasted effort, because either they're going to like you or not like you for who you are. You know, how many times have we learned a lesson where we've bent our standard a little bit to fit in, only to find out they didn't care about us at all. And you're like, wait a second, why did I go through all of that? You got to understand, you're the most unique version of any individual in the world. There's nobody like you. I mean, they might have a shape like you. They may have a sense of humor like you. You'll see somebody you meet. Oh, you remind me of so-and-so, but they're not exactly like you. Why are we trying to change ourselves? We're unique in who we are. You understand? So that's why we have to get into authentic relationships, authenticity, be yourself. I don't know. I come up from a different era. I remember back in the 70s, like I was born in 63. So back in the 70s were my formative years as a young teenager coming on up. And I'm like, we didn't want to be like each other. We had little fashions, little things going, but we did our own little twist to it. We did our own little things to it. We wanted to be unique. We wanted to stand out. Now it's like a cookie cutter situation in the world. Everybody wants to be what is put out there to the universe as being the it person. Well, if you want to be it, you got to do this. You got to wear this outfit. And this is how we're controlled. And we don't get any satisfaction out of that. I'm the one who loves to go against the grain. And me working night jobs all these years, especially in America, right? I used to get a kick out of coming home on the highway, and the highway was open, and it was a traffic jam on the other side for everybody getting up to be at work by 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. I used to laugh at that. I'm like, I'm going home to sleep. Y'all are going to work. I mean, there's different ways to get that feeling, but I just didn't want to. I like to be unique. That's just how it is. But here we go, another one. Self-compassion and acceptance. Finding yourself, cultivate self-compassion and acceptance, enabling you to embrace your strengths and imperfections with kindness and understanding. I just want to say this. You have to have self-compassion and acceptance, right? But you can't get around anybody, whether it's a potential relationship or relationship, as far as the intimacies, I mean, love and all that stuff, friendships. They should love you for your imperfections also and your strengths. And not even come at your imperfections to beat you down and say, you got to change this. It's not perfect. I love the imperfections in those around me. And it's not for me to call out imperfections. I mean, the differences in them. Okay, what's the perfection then? Why do you pressure yourself? Why do you pressure yourself with this Photoshopped, airbrush, perfect lighting, glossy situation? Let's talk about looks. I've said this before. When I used to drive a Lincoln Town car, a black car, for a limo service, it wasn't a limo, but it was a limo company, and I drove a Lincoln Town car. You had to have a late model Lincoln Town car. It had to be cleaned every day. You had to be suited down every day. And there were certain protocols that had to be in place when you drove. You couldn't have somebody come on in there, hey man, what's going on? Damn girl, you look good. No, you're not speaking. You greet them. If they want to have a conversation, fine, right? All of that driving Miss Daisy type stuff. No, it wasn't really like that. I wouldn't do that anyway. But I remember there were two companies that I worked for, and I remember one of them being Empire. They paid more money, but they had more drivers. So you had less chance to really get good runs because so many drivers that were experienced. And there was the other company that I drove for. I forgot the name. I got to go down and just do a search and find out. They were a younger black car company, but they had a lot of entertainment contracts, and they were more fun to go around with because when you got a gig, meaning that you got to run, it was run a little bit different because if somebody liked you, they're going to keep you at a time. I met Funkmaster Flex. I drove him around all week. What was the basketball player's name? Earl the Pearl Monroe. I drove him around the whole week also. It wasn't like they were all piled up, but back and forth. There was an event at the radio station, Hot 97 in New York City, and they were all participating in this event. It was a week-long thing. They had to show up and sign autographs, but they were all tied in a certain way. And there were a couple of other celebrities that I hung out with. And it's weird because that's the life I lived, and I'm living to talk about it. But, you know, the thing is that I had some models to pick up. Didn't know their names. I wasn't into the whole fashion thing, but they were very prominent models, right? Now, the Lincoln Town Car can hold a lot of people, right? So I had 4 young ladies to pick up. They were all Caucasian. And when I pulled up to where they were supposed to be standing, to me, I was like, who are these crackheads? And I'm sorry to say it that way because many of us have had to struggle with that drug. So I'm not throwing off. I'm just talking slang. I'm just talking the way I talk. They were tall, they were skinny, and they looked like skeletons. And they waved me down. I was there, but they there was no number on the car or anything, but I was like, this is them. They didn't have any makeup. No, what? When they came out from the function a couple of hours later, because they didn't have to sit there, but I left and, before they called me back, when they came back, they didn't even take their makeup off. They usually do, from what I hear and the things I've been around. They look different. They look different. So how many people would love them? How many men would meet them with the makeup on and the lighting on and walking down the runway and say, oh, she's gorgeous? Either way, I would never think that after what I saw. But the imperfections. Who's going to kiss you on the mouth when you got morning breath? Who's going to hug you and say, I love you when you're in the bed sleeping after you put it on them? Let's just be real. That's the realistic thing. Show me the raw. Show me the real. Because really and truly, with me, I like the imperfections. I love the person being an individual. I'll cover for you in public and help you to hide the other things if you want to hide it. But that's what makes you you. Why do we have distressed leather jackets? Distressed. They have the marks on them. If you have a leather jacket that you're wearing or anything leather and it's too smooth, they're going to say it's pleather. They're going to say it's plastic leather. They're going to say it's not real. We have distressed wood furniture, have natural marks in it. We got to learn how to embrace our imperfections, which makes us so very unique. I went off on that one. I should have moved a little faster. Okay, let me see here. Let me come on up. I lost. Let me just check these chat rooms here and make sure everything is still flowing. Let me see here. Okay, let me just say on our Instagram, I'm seeing lots of comments here from, maybe you want attention, but I'll just say Chica Boom Diva, right? I'm not afraid to speak out on these things, but the topic of this show is not that. And you're blasting the chat room with this stuff, but I don't think anybody's paying you no mind. If you want to express yourself a certain way on a certain topic, why don't you hit me up? My number is all over the place, 407-590-0755. Or if you can't call, right, you hit lance@lancescurv.com. But it's a very immature and inconsiderate way to express yourself. And welcome Queen Melody Music. Oh, Keto, yes. I'm going to reach out to you. I saw your note, and I haven't listened yet, but I'm going to check it out. But I'm here, but I didn't know you by that name. And anybody else here where everything is scrolled up, because I can't scroll up on my Instagram chat room. It's frozen right now, and I'm afraid because the way I can do it through my computer, any wrong move ends everything. So you got to walk on eggshells with this thing, right? Yeah, now let me go on and check the other ones. Oh, yes. We're going to get some good comments. I'm going to come back and listen to these or read these off. Yeah. Oh, don't think I won't. Because I want to kind of cross promote. Yeah. Look at this. Y'all got me. Look, the comments are better than what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be better than nobody. I'm just saying I love the participation. And this is on YouTube. Yes, it is. Okay. Let me go back to my notes. Empowerment and self-empathy. It empowers you to set boundaries and prioritize self-care, fostering a deeper sense of self-compassion and empathy toward others. See, if you don't take care of yourself, right, and set boundaries and prioritize self-care, people think there's some people out here who think, well, if I don't do for myself, but I do for others, it's a good thing. And sometimes you got to do that. But some people have the thought in their mind, I've learned this, and sometimes I'm going to admit many years ago, I was the same way. The more I denied myself, the better it is that I'll do for other people. And it doesn't work that way. How can I keep giving to you, giving to you, giving to you? Let's just say money, but I don't put anything in my bank account. After a while, I won't have any money and you'll have all of it. How can I take my paycheck and pay your bills, pay your light bills, and I'm not making sure to pay mine? So when you do this, you got to understand you will become very resentful. There are a lot of people, and I'm going to pick on it, right? In the religious community, let's just pick on Christians, right? That take this thing a little bit too far. And there's some people who don't do it at all. They ain't doing nothing for you. It's all about them. We know those types. But we're put in this position where the more we suffer and the more or the lack of boundaries, that it's a good thing. And we whittle down to nothing. We don't go after our goals. We don't go after our dreams, but we're busy supporting everybody else at the expense of us. And we get to a certain point in life, you will feel a little resentful because you're not always going to get that back. You're not always going to get that back. You understand? So you got to set those boundaries. Boundaries is not a bad thing. And you don't have to tell a person, I'm setting boundaries with you. Some you have to. But within yourself, know how far you will go. You know, I get calls all the time from different people. Hey, Lance, would you be interested in this program and that program? I can't do it. I can't do all the programs. You know, there's things that sound good that can help me create more content and better content. But I'm downsizing right now. I got other things I have to do. At this point, being in the game so long, you know, I just can't be one way. You have to expand. You have to grow. You have to set boundaries. Because if you keep saying yes all the time, you'll find yourself completely depleted. Serious business there. Alignment with purpose. Understanding yourself unveils your passions and purpose, guiding you toward a life that feels meaningful and purposeful. How many of us are living somebody else's life? How many of us don't get into ourselves because we feel it's a crime or somebody's going to say that we're selfish if we get into ourselves? How many of us don't even know what we like, our passions and our purpose? How many of us don't know that? We're living for other people. Again, if your mother, your father, your sister, brother, granny, whatever, you love your family, you love your inner circle, you will do for them, but just don't give up on what it is that you love, your passion and your purpose. Because you're not going to be or receive any satisfaction from a life like that. And let me tell you something, time moves fast. You got to always have something that you're working on for you that brings you joy. Why is it that we feel that we have to wait on our joy? Listen, you need to get a little bit of joy every single day. Whatever tickles your fancy, you need to get it every day. Now, sometimes I don't need it now, I'm going to go to sleep. But whatever it is that does it for you, that brings you joy, because there are times when emergencies happen. There are times when things happen in life and you won't have the time for a short time to do those things. Your heart always has to be full. Your heart and the joy always has to be running over. And it's not guaranteed because this is life. But why deny yourself and not know yourself? What is it that you like to do? Many years ago, as corny as it may seem, I had to ask myself that question. And I said, you know what? I like to draw. I always did, but, you know, getting into the social media thing, it kind of pulled me away from it. But I said, I like to draw. And I like to ride my bike. I'm not talking about a motorcycle, I'm talking about a bike you pedal. I like to do that. That brings me joy. Don't let anybody make it seem as though what you're doing is too corny. Or why you want to do that? As a kid, if you want to paint, paint pictures, if you wanna do some kind of embroidery, if you wanna take up a new hobby, do you know how big this world is? This world is huge right now at this very moment. There's so many different things going on. And I'm not saying you, meaning you, anybody here, but here you are sitting down in some house or musty apartment, peeking out the window, think about stuff from 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. That's not going to do nothing for you. What you do today is tomorrow's history. If in the future you look back on today and all you're doing is thinking about yesterday, what is that to think about? You if you're spectacular, and I coined a term the other day that just keeps sticking in my head. The past is the past. And I know that these are two words, retroactively spectacular. I was retroactively spectacular, but I'm not going to harp on those days. There are lots of things I did that was spectacular that y'all don't even know about. And it's things I'm doing today with my passion and my drive that are spectacular. I'm not saying it in a souped up way like I'm better than anybody else, but you got to think of the things that are inside of you that you stop because we don't feel we can do it. You got to know you can do it. Sometimes you're too tired to do it. It's okay, but make that leap. And don't be afraid of failing. There is no failing. Failing is when you don't try at all. I always say this, everything we see is the product of a thought. Everything. But do you think a person thought it up one time and it worked out? You know how many hundreds of times a person had to go after some new invention or something very simple that solved the issues of the masses that they didn't take the time to think up? You got stuff in you. That's spectacular. Don't get into the mediocre thinking. You're more than mediocre. Look, you walking around, balancing yourself on 2 feet, internal organs working, brain thinking, doing things. Just even being a human at this level after crawling for a little while. Then we learned to walk. We were a sperm at one time and hit the egg. Come on, y'all. What's up with that? So I challenge myself all the time, and I'm more relaxed in who I am because I know I have great things inside of me. 61st birthday is on April 8th, and I'm like a growing young boy. I'm not saying some clans want to go out there and call me a boy because it'll be a bloody hoodie he was wearing, but I'm just saying as a figure of speech. You see what I mean? You have to. You have to do it that way. Yes. Inner peace and serenity. The journey of self-discovery leads to inner peace and serenity, regardless of external circumstances, as you find solace in your own being. I took that walk today. I walked out, had 3 destinations I could have gone to. They all would have been just as fulfilling and necessary because I got things to do. But I chose one. And when I got into the van to head in that direction, I didn't know which one I was going to choose. And it hit me. And there's someone here today who's in the show in the chat room. I sent a little video of me walking. And I was just saying how beautiful the weather is today and how I feel aligned. Aligned. Inner peace, because you know where you are, you're supposed to be, and you chose that. The journey of self-discovery leads to inner peace and serenity, regardless of external circumstances. You can have catastrophe, confusion, and chaos going on around you. But if you find solace in your own being, that's the ultimate retreat. If you are out of yourself and don't know who you are, and can't retreat into yourself because you're confused and full of chaos, and you've allowed others to pull you out of that place of peace because that's where they want you, because they're full of chaos and confusion and catastrophe. So learn to be with yourself and have that peace and cultivate it. And you need time to cultivate it. You know, I've agreed with many friends of mine down through the years. And I told them this, because they told me there's very few places you can go and find peace in a household where there's chaos. I said, I know where to go. Lots of times I go on to the restroom and sit down. Didn't even have to go and do a sit down. Let the seat sit down. I sit down and hear what's going on. But for the most part, my life, it hasn't been that kind of chaos. And then the times it's been, I was visiting somebody's house and they're arguing, trying to drag me in. I'm like, listen, I got to get out of here soon. But at first, let me go use the restroom. I sit right in there and let the storm go over. Inner peace by any means necessary. Creativity and innovation. Authenticity sparks creativity and innovation. As you draw, I love that word, draw, because I love to draw, but it's a different usage. As you draw inspiration from your unique perspective and experiences. I can't be someone else and express their feelings, and I'm feeling something else as an artist because I am an artist. I got to go with what I feel on the inside. You can go to the shoe store. Like me, I wear size 12 shoes. I know I look like I'm a little short. I'm 5'10", but the weight on me makes me look a little shorter than, what I really am. People think I'm 5'7" in pictures. Like, I'm not 5'7". I'm not 6'2" either, but I have no problem with height because I'm spectacular, just like you are, whether you know it or not. But when I go into the shoe store to pick up shoes, you just don't get it because of what's on the side of the box. You get it because of how it feels. You see what I mean? How it feels. So it might be a size 12 that they bring to me, but guess what? I got to put that bad boy on. And guess what? If it don't feel right, if it's a little too wide or a little too long or a little too short, if it feels like it's too short, I'm not curling up my toes and making them all uncomfortable in there and hurting my feet, walking all funny. Give me the bigger size. Give me the size 13, right? If it's too big and it says size 12, give me 11 and a half. I'm instinctive that way. See, we have to be, we just have to be in touch with ourselves. So authenticity sparks creativity and innovation. Unique perspective and experiences, right? That speaks for itself. Let me check over here. Over my Instagram again. I got one screen open and yes. Okay. I can't respond. I put something in the chat on Instagram and it didn't go through and it's still in the box. So that's why I'm not really answering anybody right now. So don't think that I'm ignoring you on Instagram. Sometimes the names will scroll up and I'll miss some people. I see 8 Always, Queen Melody Music, DJ Triple X, right? World African Improvement, Time Will Tell, FT Don, Highly Favored, and Fatrina. Anybody else above that? I missed it because I was reading off what I read off, so don't think I'm being rude. Anyway, let me get on back over there. Personal growth and evolution. Continuously evolving and aligning with your authentic self leads to ongoing personal growth and transformation, enriching every aspect of your life journey. It's a beautiful thing because the you of today should be so much better than the you of last year and the you of the year before. The you of tomorrow should be, I'm not going to say a whole lot better. Hey, it might come that way, right? But it should be a tad better. Maybe you don't detect it. Maybe you think you're stagnant. Maybe you are stagnant. Why? Because of the people around you, the situations around you. You always have to push the envelope and go beyond your circumstances, at least in your mind. How many people know the people on jobs that complain? Oh, I can't stand this job. Oh, this job is killing me. How long you been here? I've been here 20 years. Then don't complain. You could have started a small business on the side. You could learn something from that job where the job serves its purpose and emulate that in a way and do something on your own. I've known people who have been on jobs. They weren't complaining, but they weren't feeling too good. They made they had a side business created that was supplementary to the company they work for. That was dope. I've seen that several times where let's say, for example, I'm going to make something up. Say you work for a limo service and they have to have their cars, their limos clean, and the black cars clean, the Lincoln Town cars clean. But they go to some car wash and pay a whole lot of money. Well, why don't you make something of a in-house car wash that serves just them and whoever else that you can accommodate? See, we can make piggyback businesses. You look, the pain that you feel should be a motivation, because pain and pleasure are the two most motivating things in our lives. But see, we want the pleasure and don't want the pain. Now, I'm not saying pain like you're some pain freak, some masochistic whip me type person. Well, if you into that, well, fine. There's reasons why we're all into some things, right? But we should understand that with the proper pain, which means sacrifice and doing without, that it will bring us a growth, that when the pleasure comes, we earned it and it's even sweeter. Again, I'm going to say my own personal saying. You've got to understand, embrace, and taste sour to truly enjoy what's sweet. Because nobody goes out there and get sweet cookies and say, well, let me go on and get some sweet soda. Sweet and sweet don't taste good. You always get, I'm not saying get dairy. You can get almond milk, but you get cookies and milk. The milk is not sweet, but it washes it down. And when you bite into the cookie, you got the sweet part again. You see what I mean? So use those emotions, use those feelings to motivate you. Don't just run away from the pain without trying to do something. Let the pain drive you. And I don't mean pain physically, somebody knock you upside the head. I mean discomfort. Take that energy of complaining and make something out of it. Make your life easy. Trust me, it's been a big sacrifice to leave America and just up at this age and go somewhere else. The sacrifice was great, even greater than what I thought. But guess what? Now the pleasure is coming. I won't go into details because there's a lot of folks out here that may not be too favorable in my journey. And I'm not scared of them either. And when it's time, you shine bright. But you'll get to a point where, you're like, wait a second. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and this is bigger and better than it's ever been. And I'm so glad I made the leap. Whatever the leap may be, it doesn't mean you have to go to a different country. You might stay at the same place, but make other adjustments in your life that you feel good about. Whatever's paining you, whatever's a discomfort to you, that's something crying out to you to say, hey, it's time to make a change. Don't just hide it. Don't just try to drink it away. Don't just try to medicate it away. It's something beckoning to you to change. And that pain, when you give into it that way and come up with a way to get better, that pain will be banished and you'll have nothing but pleasure in that same spot. Trust me, it works. Let me see now. Positive practices for finding and maintaining yourself. Self-reflection. Dedicate regular time for self-reflection to explore your thoughts, feelings, and desires without judgment. Now, let me tell you something. We do more or take more time when we're window shopping or going into the mall. I'm not throwing off on anybody here. I'm not only your personal movements and whatever. I'm just saying things in general. That's the way I always am, right? But we take more time trying on outfits, trying on shoes, doing that, than we take time with ourselves. We've become strangers to ourselves. We don't take time to self-reflect and try on different scenarios. When I designed this home in my mind, even long before I put pencil to paper, I thought to myself in my self-reflection, and it wasn't just me alone. Of course, it was Mrs. SCURV right there, but I'm the one putting the pencil to the paper. I knew what she wanted, and she got it. But what about me? What about the angle? What about the height of this living room? What about the balcony size and what was going to happen this way and that way? Well, if I stand here in this part of the room, what will I see? How much privacy do I have? You know what I mean? Traffic flow. You just can't go, I picked that one. No, I didn't want anything that anybody in the whole world ever had. I wanted it to serve me. I wanted it to fit like a glove, to the point now when I walk around in here, just the layout alone blows my mind because it came from within. And how did I get that? I got it through self-reflection. Every place that I went to, every restaurant that I enjoyed, I'm a thinker now. I've always thought this stuff. I said, when I have my dream home, I want to have this aspect of it, not the exact thing, but you see how this chair is next to the window and the sun comes up and it shines down? I got to have a window in a room where it emulates that. You see what I mean? You see how this catwalk looks? I'm going to have one day that's wider than this, and I can look down into the living room. You know what I mean? Little things. Now, well, I just saw this on HGTV. And here's the plans, and I just downloaded this. No, that's somebody else's inspiration. What is your inspiration? It doesn't even have to be a house. How do you want to dress yourself when you go out? How do you want to come off for you and not somebody else? What do you want to see when you look in the mirror? How do you want to feel? Whatever the goal may be. More time, more freedom. Right now, I am my super authentic self. More than ever before. I've always been. But I've gotten deeper in who I am. And I'm not doing anything I don't like to do. I'll tolerate it for nice people who are around me. We'll come to this function. Hey, I don't really want to go, and I'll tell you I don't really want to go, but I'm going to come and we're going to have some fun. You know what I mean? But you never have to worry or wonder what I'm thinking. You ask me, I'm going to tell you, whatever it is. That's why we're going to have a little question and answer show, probably on Instagram one of these days. I'll do it over there. We just pop on in. Ask me a question, I'm going to give you an answer. I don't care what it is. That's how free I am. I ain't got to prove that to nobody. I ain't got to put on all this jewelry. When I leave out the house, if I want to throw a t-shirt and some shorts and some Crocs and chill, I'm not trying to prove to nobody I got this and I got that and this is my status. No. Self-reflection, having time to myself. I love me. I'm not a narcissist, and you should love you too. Mindfulness and meditation. Practice mindfulness and meditation to cultivate present moment awareness and deepen your connection with yourself. You see that part there? Present moment awareness. Just think to yourself, how do you feel now? How do you feel about tomorrow? How do you feel about what you ate today? How do you feel about your relationships with others in your inner circle? How do you feel about yourself? Present moment awareness. But again, I will say it again, too many of us are thinking about the past. You extract from the past the lessons of the past to make you better because, see, in the future, you're still going to think about the past now. I'm not going to say don't think about the past because there are lessons in the past waiting to be learned, but you're not elevated enough to even extract them. Only when you get to that moment where you say, wow, I didn't really realize that about myself or human nature. And then you think back, you say, oh, that's why I went through that. And it tells you because it's your own personal experience. But you got to be in the present moment. Not only just a self-reflection, but be in the present moment. In the present moment, what do I want to do right now? Okay, I'm doing this little monologue, this conversation. I'm vibing with my family here online. And after this is over, since I went to bed 7:30 p.m. last night, I might just do it again. Let's do it again. I'm feeling that way. Just because I ate one meal earlier and a little snack not too long ago, I don't feel to eat another meal again. Why do we have to go into these societal norms of, well, you got to have at least 3 meals a day. You got to sleep 8 hours. Maybe I might want to sleep 6. Last night I slept 11 and still laid in the bed before I got up. Present moment awareness. Stop going and dancing to the beat of some other drummer. Stop being an actor in your own life to be authentic, but an actor following somebody else's script. You playing somebody else's role, and that's not even your role. Your role is to be yourself. Don't bite your tongue when it's time to speak up. And yes, we must be diplomatic and know when and where to speak. Doesn't mean you're scared, but you got to be shrewd. Because if you're not, you'll miss out on certain opportunities. You have to understand too, with present moment awareness, you got to be aware of how people see you. How do they take you? What do they see? See, how many times have people confessed to you down the line, whether it's 6 months or 2 years? Hey, Lance, you know, when I met you, man, I thought you was a nutcase, man. I thought you was a conspiracy theorist. I thought something was wrong with you. But man, I see you all right. I understand you now. Sometimes we have to give people a little time to understand this. I'm not saying trying to convince them or getting some validation from them. Take it or leave it. If you don't like me, go. But don't be so quick to pass judgment on something you don't know the depth of. But we can't worry about that. Me, I don't worry about a thing. So, oh, no, Lance, you're going too far. No, understand what I mean. I don't worry about anything. I show a certain amount of concern and then I move on. I'm not going to sit up all night. Well, what happens with this and what happens with that? Whatever's going to go down is going to go down one way. And you worried about it in the midnight hour, like that song I used to love when I was a kid. In the midnight hour. It's not going to do one thing to make it budge either way. And how many times have you worried about things? And the next day or the next week when things resolve themselves, you're like, it was that easy? I didn't even have to worry. That's why I'm not worrying. Worry is out of control. Worry is like fire, out of control. Concern is like a controlled flame in your fireplace, on your stove. Controlled fire that cooks your food, and in the fireplace that keeps you warm. But worry is like a raging fire through the forest or burning your house down. Which one do you want to be? That's why people say, Lance, you're too cool. You get bad news or bad situations or things happen to you. You evaluate and you act. You never react. Some people call me Mr. Spock. You don't show no emotion. You have to do the right thing at that moment. I cannot freak out. It's never really that bad. And if it does seem to be that bad, there's a reason for it that you probably don't know right now. There's a greater reason for it. So I'm good because karma is on my side. Karma is my buddy. I don't want to do anything to have karma come to my door and do something to me in retaliation for something that I've done. Matter of fact, when I see karma, come on over, karma. We're going to eat dinner tonight. I'm cooking up some extra stuff. We can hang out. Huh? I'm not scared of karma. It's like when you know that you're right and the cops are pulling up behind you, you ain't got nothing to worry about unless it's like America. You could be innocent in America and the cops going to do something to you. Yeah, I know. It'll make you do some Kegels. Make you do them anal Kegels. Whoop, whoop. Say, oh, am I going to die now? That's one thing I just couldn't get into. I'm all over the place now, right? Journaling. Keep a journal to express your thoughts, emotions, and aspirations, allowing you to gain insight into your inner world. Inner world. Journaling. Thoughts, emotions, aspirations. Again, we have to reconnect with ourselves to know who we are. Journaling is a good thing. Doesn't mean you have to eloquently have perfect grammar and look, even to the point of, it doesn't have to be an official journal that you get from the card store. All fancy. No, get a piece of paper, put a date next to it. You don't have to write out everything. Drop some keywords that remind you of where you were that day. It could be a little sentence. It could be some scribble that you understand, right? Like when doctors make a prescription and it's a scribble on it and say, what is this? You're going to kill me. They're not going to be able to read this. Do something for you. I would even suggest to do it that way so nobody else can read it. But to see where your state of mind was. And when you see you're in a better state of mind, you figure it out like, okay, this other thing happened to make me feel better or see it a different way and replicate that. let me just say, we got a lot of points to go through, and I ain't gonna go through all of them. Like I said, I'm gonna have you go to LANCESCURV.com and go through everything there. I'll drop the link again inside the chat room. But okay, all right. I just made the volume go on one of my screens open. It's supposed to be quiet. That's where you heard me echo a second. Yeah. But journaling, because you're going to forget what you were thinking 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago. It doesn't have to be, you could do it at the end of your day. Write a sentence that it's just like a vehicle report. I used to drive the bus, right? So who knows what's going wrong with the bus more than me? Now, I'm not a mechanic, so I can't say, well, if you go up under that solenoid and go up under that, behind that shock, I don't know that, but there's a noise coming from this side of the bus. The windshield wiper is not working on the right side of the windshield. You had the bus for the day. Write down what you think or noises or smells. There's an antifreeze smell. There's an oil, gas smell, whatever. Where was it? It was in the back and the rear, or one of the tires, I think, has a tack in there. Well, you've been with yourself. You know yourself, and this is really your notes personally for you. So jot it down. Write it down. So when you look back on it, if you see a pattern down through the days and the weeks and the months, you have an issue that you need to attend to. It's very, very important. Journaling. And don't say, I'll try to remember. You ain't going to remember. You're not going to remember 365 days in the year, the prior year. You're not. Because we go by feel too many times. So what really were we thinking? Setting boundaries. Establish healthy boundaries to protect your energy and prioritize activities and relationships that align with your values. We said it before, but they're healthy boundaries. If we live in a community, a subdivision, and we have neighbors, we're here for them if they're not rotten, because just because a person's next to you doesn't mean they're good. But it should be that way. But if you don't have boundaries, you're going to have them, if they're so inclined, to be all up in your business. No. I have friends that I've known since the mid-70s. And my friend Angelo, I've known him since 1969, and I was born in 63. I knew him from when I was 6 years old. My friend Carlos, I knew from when I was 8 years old. I can mention some other names, but they like to be private. Mid-70s, still talking every day to this day. As a matter of fact, two of my friends that I know from the mid-70s, they're hanging out right now together in New York. Sent me a picture and everything. You see what I mean? But there's certain things that I just won't push and say. And I consider them to be family, where I can basically say whatever I want and they'll understand me, but I will still have a little couth, have a little manners in how you deal. So you have to have boundaries. I'm not going to wait for somebody to put a boundary around me. I'm going to make a boundary of decency so they see it. Like, listen, Lance, I really appreciate how, you've allowed me my space in this matter that I know you know about it, but you didn't go blabbering out your mouth. You didn't go ask anybody. You didn't even say anything to me, except, hey, whatever it may be that you're going through, I'm here for you. If you want to speak about certain things, I'm here for you. But other than that, we'll carry on. Now, if I see personally with a personal close friend, they're off in the corner somewhere crying, I'm not making fun now. I'm just saying, tears, emotional outbursts, anger, say, hey, man, I care for you. What's going on? I'm not going to sit there and ignore it and say, oh, boundaries. No. Now, because of my proximity to your life, I'm taking the opportunity to say, hey, I'm not being nosy, but there's definitely something going on. This is not the friend. This is not the brother. This is not the sister that I know. You know what I mean? The police and authorities have the right to Baker Act somebody. Well, before we get to that point, I can come in and inquire before we get there, right? But we have to have boundaries. We have to. Self-care rituals. Engage in self-care rituals that nurture your mind, body, and soul, such as exercise, healthy eating, and creative pursuits. I'll add one even more so in there. Downtime where you can almost say that you're bored. Crazy, right? In this day and age, in 2024, I'm telling you, it is a luxury to be bored. We got too many things we got to do. I understand about being a high achiever and a go-getter. I feel I am that on a cerebral level. I mean, I'm not some guy who's wheeling and dealing millions. I don't choose to do that. My stuff is cerebral. And even today, look, I was going to get up early and set this show up and do it before I left. But I said, wait a second, the sun is early. This is going to take a couple hours. Not that I don't want to do it, but let me indulge in some self-care rituals of taking the walk out early in the day. Yeah, there's things right now I'm looking at that I have to do. I will do them tomorrow morning when I wake up. And now the time changed over. So from the East Coast over here to West Africa, it's a 4-hour difference. It makes a difference. But sometimes you have to go off the beaten path of your routine. I'm not saying every day, with a supervisor saying, wait a second, you called off every day last week and you're calling off again. You still have to have balance. But self-care, it goes a long way, because if you don't care for yourself, who's going to care for you? Even if you have a spouse that, I'm going to hook you up, I'm going to care for you, whatever. But if they're not there, you have to do it for yourself, and you have to show yourself that love. Seeking solitude. Spend time alone to recharge and reconnect with yourself, away from external distractions and influences. That kind of goes along with the luxury of being bored. But seeking solitude. You don't always have to be up in somebody's face. And anybody who loves you will understand that without you saying a word. You see what I mean? They'll give you that space because they appreciate you for who you are. And they don't want to see you run down. Like, look, I don't know how I held up. I don't know how I held up all these years. And again, I want to say the link is up top for every single LANCESCURV episode from the very beginning on SoundCloud, the audio. Go listen to it there and keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Full episodes of everything. I looked at it, I'm like, man, these are episodes that even I forgot. I'm like, dang, I'm a talking fool. But yeah, the luxury of being bored. Clear your mind. Put off everything. Tomorrow I'm going to do it. And it's not about being a person who's procrastinating, but you have to do this because you will have a mental traffic jam where if one of the cars way in the back smashes into the other, the cars are so close together, you have an 11-car jam up. You ever see those? Say, man, 23 cars, boom, 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 boom. Mentally, that can happen. And you'll find yourself in a place where you're mentally locked and you can't do anything. You spent the whole day running around in circles and you're like, wait a second, I didn't do anything today. And easily distracted, putting things off. No, today I said, I'm going to take it slow and I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to take this walk out. And I walked out slow. The van came right there. Everything worked out fine. Beautiful. And look at that. It's dark now. My chimes are chiming. I did the show. Got a few more points to make. I'm not going to eat no more. I just want to snack a little bit and drink a little juice. And I'm going to bed early. It's 7:03. I'm in nature. I'm up in the country. There's no distractions keeping me up. No ambulance and cops and gunshots. And nah. So I'm going to roll with that. And I'm going to be up before the sun comes up because that's what I want to do. And my mind will be rested to create, to come up with better points and better conversations that are necessary. And there's a lot of good things online. I talk bad about social media, but there's a lot of good things out there. But many of us being who we are, what do? We gravitate toward the drama. We gravitate toward the fights. And we got to stop that. We got to change the energy of how we think. Exploring passions. Pursue activities and hobbies that ignite your passion and bring you joy, allowing you to express your authentic self. That's a beautiful thing. See, when I draw a picture and I'm starting out, I'm so anxious. And check it out. When it's almost finished, and I'm coming down the finish line, seeing the hole at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel, I want to do more embellishment and more. It's lifting off of the page. You see what it is that I'm drawing. The thought, the funny, there's always something funny or some kind of a thought that I'm trying to put into it. It's not just a drawing that looks like something. And something happens in my heart. not the physical heart, but just in my being. And I'm like, I'm going to scan this thing. I'm going to upload it. And I'm going to put it out there and get the reactions. What a joy. I feel like a chef cooking a dynamic meal in this great restaurant that's known as a 5-star restaurant. And that chef, you don't know it, but you see the waiter or the waitress, but the chef, while you're eating the meal, peeks out from behind the kitchen and sees you gobbling down that food, and he knows that you're enjoying yourself, and that's the biggest reward. And some of the chefs may come out. How are you? I'm Chef so-and-so. How are you enjoying your food? And when it's good, you tell them, and it brings them satisfaction. It's a joy. And certain things for me in exploring my passions, it's a joy. Embracing vulnerability. Embrace vulnerability as a pathway to authenticity, allowing yourself to be seen and understood without pretense. We have a lot of brothers out here that they are not going to show any vulnerability because they have to have the facade of being tough. I am a man. You don't cry. No, you don't. And those are the ones that break behind closed doors. Those are the ones that want to put a gun to their head. You have to go to a shrink and get. I'm not making fun of anybody who has mental health issues, but if we can just be ourselves without listening to this society where look, I cry. I cry quick. And I'm not afraid to say that because I'm one of the strongest individuals that I know, but I will cry. And because I cry, I'm not saying I just cry at anything. Sometimes I'll cry for you if you're telling me something that you're going through. And I'm like, oh man, there's no show. I might shed some tears and embrace you if you're in front of me. I'm an empath. I will pull from you. I want to make you feel good. I want to make you feel better. When you're hurting and you're genuine to me, I'm hurting, but I'm not afraid to show vulnerability. I'm a living, breathing organism. Nobody just inhales and keeps inhaling without exhaling. Nobody eats a meal and puts it down their throat and doesn't come out the backside. Binge purge, that's what a lot of us do. We act a certain way in public and we're broken up in the middle of the night. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable, but I'm also not afraid to be strong. I don't have to prove my strength. I know I'm strong. I may not be the strongest, but I know I'm resilient. Because I know and I prove to myself, and that's why you have to understand who you are. I'm a proven product to myself. It's like a fighter who's been through a whole lot of fights. And even if he didn't win them all, he looked good in the ones he lost. He went out on his shield. I'm battle tested. I'm a proven product. I'm built tough. You have to know that you are. But every vehicle, every tank, every truck has to go to get tuned up. So what is it, vulnerable when it's taken apart and repaired and fixed? No. That's why we have to have self-care and time to ourselves. But there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. Now, I'm not saying be vulnerable 24/7. You got to have some growth. You have to have some resilience. But to express that, it makes you stronger. It makes you stronger. Who wants to be walking around uptight, anal retentive? And for the brothers, I'm an alpha male. You ain't like this all the time. Like I told you before, when I worked in a prison, where the guys were sentenced to some very long sentences, right? Misdemeanors, they're sentences for a year or less, and it's usually jail you're in unless there's multiple counts, right? But when you go to prison, it's a felony and it's a year or more unless you have some time served. And in the middle of the night, this is what I hear. The big tough guys that are in there and look so intimidating, late at night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, this is what I hear. And I'm not making fun of anybody. I miss you. Wish I was back home. No, I'm not making fun. I'm telling you. But in the daytime, when they're in the day room, the looks they give you, the tough looks they give you, they're all muscular doing push-ups and exercises, and they have to, no, man, no, get the hell out of here. If I'm going to laugh, I'm going to laugh. If I have to cry, I'm going to cry. If I have to be angry, I can look like a monster too sometimes. I can be that monster. I'm not a monster. I can be that man who cries. I'm not a punk. I'm not a sissy. We got to learn how to emotionally breathe, man. We can't be in one mode all the time. This is what actually makes us crack and makes us weak. You see what I mean? It's the society tries to prop us up to be a certain way. And we'll never find ourselves if we're dancing to the beat of society's drum. Why do you think that many of our youth, our young ladies, look at TikTok, y'all? Look at a lot of things on Instagram. A lot of brilliant things on TikTok and Instagram, but with a lot of our sisters, our young sisters, even some of the older ones, you see them and they're beautiful. The music comes on and they turn around and bend over. Is that all you got to offer? His society and social media and societal norms tricked us into thinking that that's all you got to offer, and that's the first thing our men are trained to look at? Your backside? All you are is butt? 2 booty cheeks? Is that gonna soothe me in the middle of the night? And some guy, yeah, it will, man. No, it ain't. When you really hurting, your mama die, or you find out you have a terminal illness, booty cheeks is going to soothe you, man. If you know you're on your way out of here in life and you got children and this, look, a lot of our worthwhile sisters have beautiful backsides, but that cannot be the first and foremost thing. Brothers, the length of your penis means nothing in society if you can't impart wisdom to your children and provide. And you know, in this society, they try their darndest to keep us from providing. We have to shift what we feel is important because we're doing it to ourselves. We're doing it to ourselves. Surrounding yourself with supportive people. Surround yourself with supportive individuals who encourage your growth, yet accept you for who you are. They accept you for who you are, but they encourage your growth. They don't beat you down with it. Oh, man, you ain't no good. You got to be better, do this. No, they accept you for who you are. They don't want you to stay where you are. It's like what the church says, come as you are. But you shouldn't stay as you are. I'll accept you where you are as long as you're seeking to improve incrementally, and I know it's not going to happen overnight. But you have to have supportive people, not people who beat you down, because they're really trying to beat you down. You got some of them trying to beat you down, but I only told them the right thing. But they're trying to beat you down because they see your potential, they see your light, and they don't like it. So they're going to go the other way and be a drill sergeant on you and pressure you. No, I accept you how you are. You're on a journey of ascension. I'm going to hold your hand, and I'm going to go on my journey, and you're going to go on your journey, and we're going to go on our journey together and get better. I'll support you. You might slip and fall back into whatever it was you're running away from, or whatever. Supportive. Be supportive and accept supportive people in your life. Practicing gratitude. Cultivate gratitude for the journey of self-discovery and the lessons learned along the way, fostering a positive mindset. Gratitude for unearthing the things that are hidden inside of you that you have discovered in your self-mastery. Self-mastery. If I master myself and know myself, I can maximize any effort. I'm not competing with you or anyone else, but I can maximize any effort. You will have people who don't understand how you can flow the way you flow once you've mastered yourself and take the time to come against you when they should be taking the time to master themselves. You knock my anthill over, I'm not going to miss a beat and building it back again. And you're going to look around in a year or two, it's going to be right on back. The action stops you from being actually discouraged. And if you're discouraged sometime temporarily, fine, but never have your spirit broken. I'm not letting any damn thing in this world at this point in my life, after I have tasted a little bit from every dish in a buffet of life, to make me, I'm giving up. What? Are you crazy? I'm fighting until the final bell. I'm throwing punches until the final bell. You see what I mean? I just popped in on the chat room and I see Starseed Oracle says, I love the sound of the wind chimes. You know, I was about to go out there and do the show outside and show my face, but it got so windy. And I'm like, I hope this is not a rainstorm coming. Now I'm protected from the rain because I'm under the top balcony, but electronics, you know, you just need a little bit of water that's flashed. And I'm like, But sometime this week, I'll do a show outside in the sun, just like this. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm like in my own zone. Everything's dark and didn't even put the floodlights on yet, but I'll do that soon. But yeah, not now. I've been with myself for so long. I know myself. I know where my weaker parts are. I'm not saying I'm weak, but I know where the cracks in the armor are that I filled in with crack filler. All right? That doesn't sound right. Not crack I'm talking about, you know, the filler. And those are the points that really should be the most strongest. Where you are scarred should be the strongest part of your being because you took that wound and you healed from it. And sometimes the scar looks a little ugly, but really it's a badge of honor. So I'm going to go off and say this on the fellas on a different level. Don't complain when you see your woman or a woman you're interested in. Oh man, she got some ugly stretch marks. She brought life into this world. And maybe some have. It's a beautiful sight. It's looked at as an imperfection in this world most times. Secretly, we don't say anything. But to me, I love the imperfections because the imperfections are a sign of your perfections because it makes you unique. You ever look at a tree trunk? They chop the tree down and you look at the trunk. And there's a history in that tree trunk that you can read. You know about the rings in the tree trunk? And you see thicker rings that show that there was more growth in a particular year. And you can count back the years on how old that tree is. You see rings close together. You can tell when it was a drought. You can tell when there wasn't much rainfall. And the rings that are far apart, it grew more and there was more water. It's a beautiful thing. Look at them stretch marks. It's a sign of life. And a beautiful thing, and very much a perfection, and an embellishment, and what makes a woman unique. It's a beautiful thing. You got to understand that. I just came over to the Instagram chat room. I see Kimmy. Yes, Kimmy. Queen D. Miss Soul Sister Soldier. Donald Tate. Motif Keys, and Saint Ash. And CHNGG. I always feel okay and Vibes Music. Who else? Yeah, I'm about to wrap this down. But it human nature and what we are and who we are, it's a beautiful thing. Especially we don't have to go to a college to explore ourselves. We just have to look within. We just have to look at the things that we've been through as far as our experiences and how we reacted to it to learn how to deal with it better, because I don't react, I act. I used to react, right? But now I'm wise enough and more mature to act. You think first and say, how should I handle it? It may look like a reaction, but it's not a reaction, because a reaction means you were controlled by the situation around you. You reacted. You would have never done that unless an act was committed to you, good or bad. But I have to think about it. See? And evaluate. So that way, when I look back on my life, I feel good about how I dealt with situations. Now, I'm just going to speak about, I'm not going to go in on them. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. But you know what? Let me take a sip of this freshly squeezed mango juice. Let me take a sip, y'all. Not going to put on music. I just want to take a sip. It's going to take about 20 seconds. Maybe more, because it's so good. Ain't a drug or concoction or any artificial stimulation that can whip nature. Lord have mercy. Let me take another sip. I'm being greedy because you know after this show is over, I'm going to wax this thing off. Hold on, y'all. I love nature. Okay, not to end off on a negative note. It's not a negative thing, but we have to talk about the things that the red flags indicating misalignment. Okay, feeling disconnected or empty, persistent feelings of emptiness or disconnection from oneself indicate a need for deeper introspection and self-discovery. You're unhinged. You don't feel life. You don't feel like you belong anywhere. You don't feel the purpose. There's an emptiness there. Disconnect. Everybody's laughing and having a good time, and you're kind of like not feeling it. Doesn't mean you always have to be that way. We're not a machine. We're not going to be 100% all the time. We're not going to be Captain or Queen Prozac all the time. You know what I mean? And we put on like that when we do feel empty, and that's not good either. Never put on. If you're in a situation where you're down and you don't want to laugh, you don't, remove yourself. Say, hey, I'm not feeling it. I don't know why. I'm not crazy, but I'm not mad at y'all for having a good time. But guess what? There's something here. I need to pull my vehicle off the racetrack of life for a couple of days and get under the hood and see what's going on. Seeking external validation, relying on external validation for self-worth and identity suggests a lack of inner fulfillment and authenticity. That has never been my problem. I don't care if a person doesn't validate. I don't seek, all my stuff comes from within. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I don't mean it in an abrasive way or a confrontational way if I'm on a job somewhere or something that's expected. You know, I'm not going to, be like that. But what I'm saying is that I'm not going against myself. And I don't need any validation because you see, at the end of the day, when you do what you need to do from within, you'll be respected and praised at the end of the day anyway, even when you weren't. But don't look for it. I'm not looking for it. I'm going to shine regardless within my own scale. Because you know what people do? There's some people who, when you're doing well, they're going to purposely cut off any congratulations or praise. Anything. I'm not saying praise they get to worship somebody. You can do great things and they ain't going to say nothing at all. It don't matter. I ain't looking for it. You have to know what it is that brings you joy and a sense of accomplishment. And seeking external validation, it's nice when it comes in, but don't expect it. It's nice when it comes in, but don't expect it. Ignoring intuitive signals, disregarding intuitive signals and inner guidance can lead to feelings of confusion and disorientation in navigating life decisions. Listen to your gut. Listen to your first mind. See, some people say it's a spiritual thing. Some people say it's a practical thing. Whatever it is a combination of both, because those are both factors in our lives. All the experiences that you've ever been through, say you remove the spiritual, all the experiences that will give you a gauge because you've been through things before similar to certain things. And now add in the spiritual. That intuition that's divine, that's talking to you. You know, animals talk to each other, insects talk to each other. We swear up and down that we don't have this gift of discernment, this third eye, whatever you want to call it. I know I have it, and I use it fully every day, because how many times have you said, damn it, I wish I followed my first mind. I wouldn't be in this situation. So you never ignore intuitive signals. Exhaustion and burnout. Chronic exhaustion and burnout may signify a disconnect from one's true needs and priorities, necessitating a reassessment of life balance. It's easy to fall out of balance. It's easy to overdo. I know people on the internet that they can't let it go. They get up early in the morning. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook watching. Nighttime come, they're on more YouTube. Hearing people talk about other people, then they go on Discord. Hey girl, you just what did you? And then later on they go on Clubhouse and fall asleep with the phone hitting the floor. Whole day went by. What did you do for yourself? They're burning out. They're exhausted, not just because of social media, but all the other things. A reassessment of life's balance. An hour from now, maybe an hour and a half from now, I'm going to be snoring. I don't snore anymore. I don't know why, but that's a good thing. Went to bed last night at 7:30. Woke up all through the night. Went to the restroom once or twice. Took a quick phone call. Stayed in the bed. Actually, it was 12 hours, but I woke up early and I stayed in the bed an extra 30 minutes because I wanted to. Life balance, whatever it takes to bring you in balance, whatever. Listen to that intuition. I need to get out of here. I need to get near a body of water. I need to get out of here. I need to go somewhere in the park and buy up some fruit and eat the fruit. It may seem wild, but really and truly, look at it this way, and I've said that before. It's just an observation of mine. You have people in places like Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, maybe not so much Miami, and it could be that too, but places up north in the United States, and I'm quite sure in the colder climate, especially the UK, they love coming to the Caribbean, they love coming to Florida. But why do they come to places where there's body of water and warmth? Because they're living out of balance in these cold climates. They're living out of balance. And they want to bring themselves back into balance, but they're living in a way, and they're not really living, but it's almost like when you're driving around to check engine light on it, you're too busy to look into it. There's something wrong. It's screaming at you, but you ignore it oftentimes until it gets to be too late. And now you have a major issue. Your brakes start squeaking. After a while, it starts to dig into the rotors. Now you have a bigger problem and you got to pay more money. You see what I mean? Always seek to find yourself in balance. We pay attention to those lines in the highway, and especially when you have the other lane next to you, it's a double yellow line coming against you. You don't veer off into that side because you know you're going to have a head-on collision now, don't you? So be sensitive to what your body's telling you, your mind is telling you, your spirit is telling you, your emotions are telling you. When you feel really good for a day and a couple, really ecstatic, and it's not a medication thing or a substance thing. I'm talking about a real sense of balance. Try to understand and journal, write it down, the factors the days before of what you did because you did something right, whether you knew it or not, so you can replicate this and hopefully have the same results. I've been coming out here for years doing these talk shows, but that's not what I came out here for. I'm an artist and I write. Once I started to get these interviews and I delivered on good interviews on a roller coaster, making you laugh, making you cry, making you think, make you do all this different, it's just natural for me. No, it don't have nothing to do with me being in New York, but it helps. It's just the way I am. I've always been this way. Ask anybody who's known me for a long time. I don't have to manufacture that. But I flow. But I also know that there are days that I may not be as up as I was the day before. Not a roller coaster. But then I have to make an assessment. Why am I not feeling the way I was feeling yesterday? Because I've been kind of consistent. When you do this stuff online every day, you better be consistent in yourself and who you are. I've been doing so many other things, so I've been missing a few days, but trust me, the other things are going to enhance this even more so. I always keep my hands moving. But I also know that every blow is not a knockout blow. When you're in a boxing match, you think you're going to throw a knockout blow every time, you'll be exhausted, even if you're in good shape. You throw out little pitter-patter punches to blind the opponent to move, to get a certain rhythm in. They get used to you doing a certain combination. Then you change up, boom, then you get them. They do things to you to trick you, and you got to recuperate. You have to think on your toes, and that's how you have to do in life. Think on your toes. Because you're going to have all kind of things coming against you to take you out of life balance. Isn't that something? That's That's the key. Suppressing authenticity, suppressing authentic thoughts, emotions, and desires to conform to societal expectations erodes self-confidence and authenticity over time. There's a Mike Tyson interview that's just so funny to me. He was being interviewed by someone, I believe, in Canada, and I think it was him doing his one-man show or something he was doing with someone else, and the interviewer just said, well, and I think this guy who was doing the thing with him was running for some kind of office. And the guy broke out and said, well, you know, you're a convicted rapist. How do you think that has affected the whatever? And he put him on a spot like that. And so Mike Tyson is authentic. He didn't care. He's like, listen, I think you're an effing piece of shit. No, really, nobody's talking about that, but you act like you're a nice guy, and you're really a piece of shit. Yes, he said it. It was raw. It was true. Mike Tyson is not going to die from emotional constipation. I should say constipation. And I'm not either. I'm not holding back. I'm not going to suppress my authenticity. If you come to F's with me, I'm going to tell you and read you like a cheap novel. I don't care how quick the little words you want to drop, because there are people who specialize in that, and they want to get around you like a snake and evaluate you and drop negativity on you that grows later on and you don't know where it came from. Or you drop it on me, I'm going to throw it right back in your face. It might be followed by a smack or a punch. Don't come around me with that. You see what I mean? The people know. People have a sense of that. I really can't mess with him, but they'll still try. Strained relationships characterized by conflict or resentment may stem from a lack of alignment with one's true self and values. It may not be the other person. Could be you. It could be the other person and not you. Because of their lack of alignment. See, you're going to piss off people when you fall into alignment. And it's not like you just fall into it. I'm just saying from your practices of all the things we talked about. And you earn your alignment. You just don't wake up singing like Mr. Rogers. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? No, that's not life. That's not life. Soft behind Mr. Rogers. He ain't been through nothing. You don't just walk around like that. Even people with money and who have privilege, they don't walk around like that. I always wanted a neighbor just like you. No, it don't work that way. There's always something coming at you. And that's not paranoia. When you have the light, put that light on in your backyard. Or when you're growing up, you had the floodlight in the backyard. Put that floodlight on all kind of things, all kind of flying, weirdo looking bugs. 3 heads looking at you. You know what I mean? Flying around, looking big. Like, what the heck is that? Where were those bugs all day? They're out there looking at you in the daytime, not saying anything. Just the same way people hold these feelings towards you in these strained relationships because they're uptight. They work so hard to have a front that they know is a front, and they're looking at you like you're the real thing, and they pissed off at you for being imbalanced and having the light that you have and being content with yourself and producing. So either they say to themselves, I got to be inspired by this, or I got to tear him down. Because me and my fake self would come off better if this authentic clown over here didn't exist. You see what I mean? You minding your business. You trying to make yourself better. You're trying to bring yourself into a sense of alignment. And here you are like that floodlight, attracting so many negative entities. Don't you stop shining. You turn the light up and burn them bad boys. And don't apologize for your success. And don't apologize for your alignment. You earned it. You did what you have to do to get it. It's difficult in this world. That's an obstacle course, but it's not impossible. And when you got it, it's easier to keep it. It's easier to keep it. You keep your energy right where it is and watch me shine. Because when you have the title and you have the crown, the naysayers will always watch and always stare. lack of purpose or passion, feeling directionless or apathetic towards life goals and aspirations suggest a disconnect from one's passion and purpose. Yes. Yes. When you're disconnected from your passion and your purpose, you're not going to feel too good. None of us were put here to be mediocre. None of us were put here to be cookie cutter entities. And that's what this world order these days want us to be. Collective sheeple. That's why they throw all this so-called mind-numbing entertainment at us. So we don't find out who we are. We're so busy looking outside, trying to be somebody. I want to be like that actor, and this one want to be like this actress. And we start acting like these characters they put out there. And let me tell you something too. Actors and actresses very soon, I don't know, it's 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, they're going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be AI actors and actresses. Hollywood is due for a big shakeup because we've been so disconnected, and they want to control us even more so and take away that human element and have us connected to something. Ain't nothing better than going to a play. Each play, if you put it side by side, the night before and tonight may slightly be different. The lines will be delivered a little different. You may have a replacement actor up in there because someone was sick. But it's the human vibration between each other that makes it mean something. So one day soon, there'll be no real actors. There might be main actors, but there'll be actors and then actresses, and maybe not. That'll be a thing of the past. They'll play this 20 years. You know, old LANCESCURV was right. But I heard that from the horse's mouth. And there ain't no horse. Constant comparison, continuous comparison to others, and feelings of inadequacy signal a lack of self-acceptance and appreciation for one's unique journey. Listen, y'all, I appreciate my life. I appreciate my unique journey. I appreciate the lives of others and their unique journey. I'm not saying mine is better than theirs, but I appreciate mine, and mine is just as important to me because it's mine. Whether I write a book about my life and my journey, that's coming. Been saying that for decades now, right? But it's coming. It's not a comparison thing. But too many of us constantly compare. Oh, he did this, and I need to do that. How did he do this? I'm gonna go see it and put it down. Just the other day we were side by side, and now look how he's living. And they want to attack you too. They want to attack you. They can't stop you when you realize your passion and your destiny. People will compare. I mean, you know, there's going to be a little bit of that on almost a healthy level to gauge as you push forward. But some people become obsessed with you. I mean, obsessed. I don't mean with the admiration and they like you. I mean, obsessed like an evil obsession. A lot of guys come to me on like, hey man, you got all the girls out there. What you mean I got all? What are you talking about? You think you don't put your mindset on me? I got more dudes hating on me and watching me and comparing and trying to put me down and whispering and doing little bitch things. See, the word bitch is not relegated to sex. In the animal world it is, because a female dog is that. We understand that. But the concept of bitch, we have more males who are bitchs than we do females. In this day, in 2024, grown male bitchs. And I said, call, I'm going to have to answer back. I haven't heard from this person in such a long time. But I have to call him back. Unbelievable. Where are the real men? I mean, to the core. To the core. You know, come on, y'all. Y'all know I'm not putting nobody down. But you know, back in the day, how we would say, even women would say, oh man, like a bunch of women, y'all just gossiping. No, I won't say that today, and I never said it even before. We got more male bitchs and gossips and wondering about the next person, about this and that. For real, what are you doing with yourself? Want to peep and gossip and whisper. That means you don't have no joy in your own life to go after the things with this constant comparison because you are insecure. Doing that to me or anybody else is not going to make you better. It's not going to advance you. Avoidance of inner work, avoiding inner work and self-exploration to escape discomfort or fear inhibits personal growth and self-awareness. It's like them bills sitting up on the dresser that you don't want to open up, even though we pay our bills online for the most part now. But the more we avoid the inner work is the more we deteriorate. If you have a house and you buy a brand new house and, oh, I got a brand new house, you can get away with a couple of years of certain things you're not doing. But if you don't do anything at all, and it's 10 or 15 years pass by, your house is looking jacked up. Just like you and I will be if we don't do the work internally that we need to do. So we should just do a little bit every day incrementally. You know, cut the grass. You don't have to wait for the weekend to cut the grass. You bored? You have nothing to do? Go cut that little bit now. You see around the back, you have to paint around the foundation? Do a little bit. Do an hour a day. Don't, oh, God, it's going to be it's going to take me 3 weeks to do it. Well, we'll do an hour, 21 days. You get it done. Break it down. You'll feel good because every time you come back to your house, it's going to feel brand new. So when you work on yourself and you don't let any toxicity build up in your heart and in your mind and this dysfunctional stuff, and yes, a lot of us were born into dysfunction, so now we got to deal with that stuff too. A little bit every day. Like that restaurant you go into, it's always clean because every time there's some waitress or some waiter coming out and wipe the table clean, they still wiping, just a wiping away. That's the way you do yourself. Overemphasis on material success. Prioritizing external achievements and material success over inner fulfillment and authenticity leads to a shallow and unsatisfying existence. Especially when you get around people who are in the deeper virtues of the human condition. And you roll up and you proud you got this new car, you proud you got this new toy. Ain't nobody paying you no mind in those deeper circles. You get around other shallow people, they're going to be jealous of you. They want to outdo you. You'll be like maggots. Like I said, I never wore jewelry like that. I might have wore a piece here too. Just give me a t-shirt, give me my shorts, give me my Crocs. Of course, put a little money in my pocket. Always got to keep a camera on me to bring you back, you know, footage that I'm going to show you. I'm just me, y'all. I just want to be me. I want to vibrate with you as I am authentically myself. I don't want to be here and trying to be this LANCESCURV guy that I constructed. I'm trying to be a little more decent now. I still have my moments where we talk adult and say some funny jokes and stuff, and we will do that. We got to laugh in the trenches. I'm a comedian. Yes, I am. Y'all know that. But at this point in the game, the more work we need to have done, we need to have a little more sense of urgency. I'm not going to sit there, time is running out, the world is going to end. No, but our time on this level will end, and are we ready for that? It's better to have your bags packed when you're traveling a week before, everything in order, than to be up the night before. Oh my God, the taxi's going to come in 2 hours and I don't even know where my underwear is. I don't even know where my toothbrush is. I like to think long before. And when I went out early, I was jotting down these points of what I wanted to speak about. Finding oneself is not a destination, but a lifelong journey of self-discovery and growth. By embracing authenticity, nurturing self-awareness, and prioritizing inner peace, you can embark on a path of fulfillment and purpose that resonates deeply with your true essence. Remember, the greatest gift you can give yourself and the world is your authentic presence. Because if you don't, you're robbing the world of the true you, and you never get to see how you'll be appreciated because of your insecurities that are festering up by what's thrown on you by the world and what they think you should be. It's a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. Wow. I'm going to sign off now. I don't want to go, but I'll say, according to last night, I'm 15 minutes past my bedtime. It's 7:45. I used to stay up to 7:45 in the morning. But like I said, we walk the path, we're in the journey together. All of us here who are in the chat room, all of us here who are watching, who may not be chatting, all of us who are on Twitch and LinkedIn and YouTube and X and Instagram and Rumble, wherever you are. It's the same thing. It's just a different vehicle to get in there. And I'm just so appreciative to be here. I just checked over to the Instagram chat room, and my twin RK, the Critic Goat, Miss Baby Powder, we got to do a show coming on in. Deborah Lockhart and Shana Simone, official, yes, and Akin Kunju, yes. Bottom line is, we here. We got work to do, but while we do the work, we got to have some fun, and I'm all for that. It's all about the balance. It's all about the journey and making ourselves better incrementally the day before. Yes, I'm going to call you right after the show, baby, my twin. All right, I'm going to sign off now, and I'm looking at this thing of mango juice, and this bad boy is so good looking, and I'm going to finish this bad boy off. And soon, after a couple phone calls, I'm going to go to sleep. Anyway, much love to you all. Take care. We will be back tomorrow with some more LANCESCURV out. Much love. Peace.
Hello, this is Martha. Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him.
Make sure to go to LANCESCURV.com, an online magazine established in 2001, containing written articles, thousands of talk shows and discussions, cutting-edge cartoons, as well as erotic expressions and tasteful adult photography. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. Once you get a taste of the world of LANCESCURV, trust me, you'll be back for more. LANCESCURV.com. Bold, raw, and uncut.